Hey there, it's Wasted Potential 616 back again with some more comic reviews. I've got two comics for you. First one's Hawkeye and Mockingbird, issue 1. Second, Batman, Return of Bruce Wayne, issue 2. Right, now, this was a pretty decent issue. I'm kind of giving some of the new Heroic Age titles a go. And yeah, this was a solid issue. Nothing groundbreaking. But you know, I enjoyed it. I'm not too familiar with Hawkeye and Mockingbird, sort of them, you know, together. I never really picked up any of the West Coast Avengers stuff. I didn't pick up the miniseries, the recent one, the New Avengers, the reunion, with these two together. But that's not absolute. That was, I mean, that kind of was a precursor to this. But it wasn't that. I don't think it was necessary because this introduces them as a couple and various things quite well on its own. We get to see Hawkeye and Mockingbird together, working together, and it does it really well. We get a real sense of sort of joy that they love what they do, you know, crime fight, and they love doing it together. It's a really cool opening scene with them catching some criminals. But they're not your typical sort of superhero couple, you know, while you see them enjoying their jobs and whatnot. There's a kind of underlying tension between the two, I found in this. You know, you get the sense that they do love and care for each other, but there is a kind of tension that, maybe I'm reading into it too much, but I get the sense that it's kind of doomed to failure, their relationship, but that's just me, you know. We also were introduced to this group that Mockingbird put together, of sort of former S.H.I.E.L.D. agents, ones that were sort of kidnapped by the Skrulls during the whole Secret Invasion thing. I do believe they were introduced in the miniseries that I previously mentioned, the New Avengers reunion, but they're introduced nicely here. We see Clint Barton interact with Steve Rogers and new Captain America, just so you can sort of get a feel of that it's, you know, this is part of the whole Heroic Age thing, and you know, it's you know, part of the crossover / status quo. You know, it's a Marvel status quo. Then there's some stuff with the Phantom Rider, the old sort of Marvel cowboy character, and apparently him and Mockingbird had history, which I'm not really aware of, but that is kind of explained later. But yeah, so we get this sort of ongoing story, sort of arms dealing and whatnot, and there's character crossfire involved, and it's all very good. You know, it's the beginning of a story, so there's not that much to it. It's slowly progressing. You can tell it's the start of something, you know. Then sort of Clint Barton does looking into Mockingbird's family life, and there's a little bit of a bombshell twist dropped here, which I found quite interesting. And there's an introduction of a new Phantom Rider, which I thought was pretty cool. You know, so it was a good, solid read. I'm not sure whether I'm going to carry on with the series. I'm probably going to give the second issue a go and see how I feel. But I tell you what was handy in this, sort of a recap of Hawkeye and Mockingbird and their history, sort of going through, sort of reprinting pages, yeah, well, you know, panels from various old comics and whatnot. Which I found really handy and interesting. You know, I'm a bit snobbish sometimes when it comes to comics. You know, I think I know everything and all the histories and whatnot, but I didn't. You know, about Mockingbird especially. So I found it really handy, and it was interesting. It was good. So yeah, a pretty solid comic, but nothing groundbreaking. I tell you, it was great though. Fucking Batman, the Return of Bruce Wayne, issue 2. This was great. This was such a joy to read. Grant Morrison is doing such a great job in this. I found this much better than the first issue, even though I did enjoy that. This is kind of on two levels, this book. You've got Bruce Wayne sort of flung into sort of early colonial times during sort of Puritan era, early American history, where he's a witch hunter, and it's all explained really well. He gets found by this woman that may or may not be a witch, and she puts him in the clothes of a dead man. He assumes his role, and it's all very good, all handled well. And it's brilliant where you get to see Bruce Wayne sort of solve a murder, when they're all sort of blaming the devil and this sort of creature that's out in the woods, which he fights, which is quite cool. But we get to see Bruce Wayne use some real detective work. It's like reading an old Sherlock Holmes, or watching an old Sherlock Holmes episode, just deducing a murder, it's just really cool, really interesting. We forget sometimes that Bruce Wayne / Batman is the world's greatest detective. But the whole stuff of him in the Puritan times, it's handled really well, really interesting. The relationship he has with this woman that may not be a witch, I found quite touching. It was written really well. And then there's another level of this book where we get to see Superman, Hal Jordan, Booster Gold, and Rip Hunter, and they go to the end of time to try and track Batman, and we get some great Grant Morrison weirdness. Just keep an eye on the time. Just brilliant stuff, where they meet this archivist, and they're looking at the end of the time, and there's it's like a big cosmic loom, strings all the parallel universes, and it gets some nice Grant Morrison weirdness, and it's not too overwhelming. It's not like he's just making up words or anything. Sometimes he's accused of doing, but some cool ideas thrown in there. They sort of say, perpendicular to the time plane must be a cube time, where wheel must look flat. Things live out there, I'm sure, things with scale and depth and dimension we can only begin to imagine. I think I had a glimpse of blah blah blah, but sort of explaining that the reason why we see this universe as flat is just the way that the universe and timelines were constructed and everything. It's just really cool, interesting ideas. A nice dollop of Grant Morrison weirdness, well, not weirdness, just sort of his type of science fiction, and there's a nice little twist at the end of this whole sort of end of time thing, which I didn't see coming. It was really good. Don't want to spoil that. But then we also get to find out what exactly is pretty much what's going on, and it is a spoiler alert. Superman going, you took your memories, relied on your survival instincts, you've been booby-trapped, Darkseid turned you into a doomsday weapon and aimed you at the 21st century. So now we know why Bruce Wayne is going through time. It's a booby trap set by Darkseid, which is a continuation of Final Crisis. We get a sense that this is actually a sequel to Final Crisis, Just keep an eye on the time. Okay, I've got to wrap this up, but this was a really good issue. Oh, and quickly, I just want to say, Fraser Irving's artwork is brilliant in this. It really suits the tone of the story perfectly. It's kind of dark, dark colours, dark tone, but it suits the era, the Puritan era that it's set in. It's really good. Just trust me, it suits the tone of the comic completely. It's just the dark colours, and it's good. Anyway, I'm running out of time, so I'll leave it at that. I can't recommend this enough. It's a great read. Grant Morrison doing a great job. Alright, see you later, guys. Bye.